All right, and of course, you earlier on you mentioned the Western Bloc, which involves Wetangula and Davadi, but then there's no Kalonzo Musyoka in that mix. What happens to him, Kepha?
No, that is the problem. You know, the problem we have with the Western part, or the lawyer community, it traces back to independence. Yeah. You remember this community. In fact, if you read, there's a book written by Professor Shadrach Amakoy called talking about the taboos and the system of the Luhya community. It says that there's nothing like the Luhya. The Luhya is simply 18 sub-tribes within them that always have a similar dialect. But ideally, there's nothing like the Luhya. And this disunity started way back from colonial, when a portion decided to collaborate and other portion decided to resist, starting viewing each other's enemies. Now, this unity along the line, it has never been united, save for in 2002 when we saw the late Kijana Wamala try to bring them together, and only because we had a common agenda for the whole nation, that was to throw out the Kanu regime. Yes. So it is likely to be in a position, we have seen it, even when Wetangula and Mudavadi decides to come up together as brothers, they still cannot marshal all the votes of the Western. Remember, this was NASA's stronghold, and you also realize that Jubilee almost have 8 MPs from that region. Therefore, tells you what is really happening. Yes. Themselves, they have not, been in a position to make their people realize that in politics, you have to marshal numbers. Luhya community then becomes the second largest ethnic group that when they marshal that number very well, likely to make a political difference in the scene. But this has never been realized. And that is where politicians make advantages, because it's always the deciding block. When you have marshaled from different regions, then you come and hit from the West, and you're likely to get half or maybe 3/4 to win your election. So for them to think that they are likely to marshal the Luhya community and then come up as a bloc is it's misleading, because that is, we have seen the history, we have seen how they've been voting, the voting patterns, and how political realignment has been changing in Western. It is very hard to unite them as a whole, as a part of the community. And so what they should be doing, as much as they work in their community, they must also realize that they can never walk alone. They must reach out to the like-minded community with the numbers. With the numbers. Because you remember, Ruto already has 2 numbers from 2 large communities. Yes. He's only needing maybe 2 or 3 additional. So if they are likely to become serious competitors of the scene, then they must start appealing to the community